Welcome to the Start Here Golf podcast for women and adult beginner golfers, hosted by the WeGolf Network. I'm Teresa, and together we make the game simple, clear, and easy to step into. In this episode, we'll talk about feeling uncomfortable and out of place as a beginner, and how understanding what your choices are as a golfer can completely change how you experience the game. Let's get started. If you're just starting out in golf, but you feel like you don't quite belong yet, don't worry, you're completely normal. One of the biggest things no one really explains to beginners is that there is more than one way to be a golfer, and there's actually a lot of versatility in how you can play the game. Most beginners look at TV and social media and assume that's what golf is and that's how you're supposed to play. But that's really only one side of the game. The truth is, golf is personal, and you have choices in how you want to play. There are two ways most people experience golf. There's performance golf, which focuses on things like swing tips, game improvement, and lowering your score. And then there's recreational golf, which is more about socialization and simply enjoying the game. Most instructional programs focus more on swing mechanics and better performance. But this doesn't always work for everyone, especially beginners, and honestly, I think that's one of the main reasons so many people who try golf as adults don't end up staying in the game. Because most instruction teaches you how to swing a golf club, but a lot of times it doesn't teach you how to actually play the game. Learning how to swing a club is important, don't get me wrong, and I do recommend taking lessons, but as a beginner, there are also a lot of other parts to the game you need to know. Things like course logistics, etiquette, rules, safety, equipment. It's a lot, and for many beginners, figuring all of that out plus trying to focus on performance metrics can become overwhelming really quickly. In my experience, when beginners start by focusing on the recreational side first, meaning just learning how to play and feel comfortable on the golf course, everything else starts to come together a little more naturally. I want to take some time to talk about why I decided to become a golfer and how I started learning the game, because it is different from the traditional path. Most of the voices you hear in golf when you're searching online or looking for instruction come from people who've been playing their entire lives, but mine doesn't. I didn't start golfing until I was in my 40s, so all of my experience comes from actually being an adult beginner in the game. I got into golf because of my husband, Matt. He's a golf instructor, and he's been teaching for about 30 years now. And together we have a lessons and leagues business in New Hampshire called Affordable Golf Lessons. And he wanted to get more women into the game. So one day he asked me how to do that. That's when we sat down and started having some real conversations about what women actually need. Basically, we were talking about what I would want and need to start playing golf on my own as a woman. My background is in education, so I walked him through how I would set up the ideal golf program for myself from a teaching standpoint. And what Matt and I realized pretty quickly is that we have a perspective most of the golf industry just doesn't have. We have my lived beginner experience combined with both of our teaching expertise. And when we put those two things together, it gave us a unique approach for teaching and learning the game. What we do is outside the box from traditional golf instruction. I had no real knowledge of golf before I started helping Matt, so I wasn't quite aware of how far outside the box we were, but it works. And together, we've been helping golfers learn to play the game for over a decade now. What's different about our program is that we focus a lot more on community building and structured playing opportunities than most beginner instructional programs do. As a beginner, I understood pretty quickly the difference between learning how to swing a golf club and actually being able to go out and play the game. Putting those two things together just takes time. And I think that's where a lot of beginners end up feeling disconnected and eventually opting out of the game. Because learning golf is messy. It doesn't always go your way, and it certainly doesn't look like what you see on TV or social media. That's why Matt and I started our first YouTube channel, Tea Time with the Thompsons. We started filming my progress right from the start and putting it up on YouTube. We did it because I wanted to be able to show women a realistic idea of what learning golf is actually like. Matt and I also wanted to show a different side of golf, one that focuses more on the enjoyment and social aspect of the game over performance and performance metrics. As I was learning, I remember being overwhelmed and making a lot of mistakes on the golf course. I would do things like talk while people were trying to hit, pick up other players' golf balls when I wasn't supposed to. So I didn't always know where I could and couldn't drive the golf cart. So things like that. And I also remember being very self-conscious about how I hit the ball. I used to watch videos back after our rounds, and some days I would just sit here and cry. I felt so uncomfortable, self-conscious, and honestly, just ridiculous. Matt kept telling me it was okay, I had a decent swing for a beginner, and that I was just learning, but that didn't make any of it any easier. I still felt all the things beginners feel, and I was putting it all up on YouTube. It was challenging for me, and there were so many times I wondered, wow, just what am I even doing? But I kept going because I really did want other women to have at least one example out there of someone they could relate to, especially as a beginner. When we first started, not only was I going through all the things beginners experience, but I was also dealing with some significant health issues. So when I did watch those videos back, I wasn't just seeing my golf swing. I was seeing everything else: my discomfort, my limitations, my frustration, my illness. It got to the point during our first few seasons of filming that I wouldn't even look at our videos, and honestly, I still have a hard time watching some of the early footage. But as I improved, I ended up becoming more comfortable, and things started getting easier. It took me about 2 to 3 seasons to really start feeling confident on the golf course, figure out who I was as a golfer, and understand what kind of golf I enjoy playing the most. People play golf for a lot of different reasons. For me, at first, it was a way to help Matt with our business, but now it's also something I use to help manage my health. I get a lot of inspiration and motivation from golf to take care of my body. I use it for relaxation and stress relief. I love being outside, getting fresh air and sunshine, and just spending time with Matt. We enjoy playing a good game together, but we don't take things too seriously while we're out there. We really just focus on having fun. For me, with my game, and because of my health and the way I need to take care of myself, I'm not a performance golfer. That kind of environment just doesn't work for me personally. I'm also not competitive. I don't care about performance metrics. Sorry, golf world, but I really don't. I'm not worried about getting a handicap. I'm not trying to break 100. In fact, I don't even want to play my own ball if I don't have to. But that doesn't make me any less of a golfer, and it doesn't mean that I can't play the game in a way that's supportive and enjoyable for me. As long as I can keep up the pace of play and be a good sport while I'm out there, I'm playing the game the correct way for me. I'm a recreational golfer. I prefer playing in social golf settings, and our entire New Hampshire business is focused around this type of golf and this type of golfer. What I've learned over the years working with adult beginners is that most of our clients are recreational golfers. They're looking to be able to play well enough to feel comfortable on the course and enjoy the experience while they're out there. And when those two needs are met, they're staying in the game. Some of our golfers do like more performance-based golf, so they do work on getting handicaps. They also participate in more traditional score-based leagues and engage in other more competitive types of play. But honestly, most don't. Most of our clients stay recreational, or they'll find a mix of recreation and performance play that works well for them. But when you watch golf on TV or scroll through golf content on social media, it can feel like the only version of golf that exists is performance driven. And because of that, it can feel like that's the only way to learn and play the game. So I think my best advice for beginner golfers is this. First and foremost, allow yourself to be a beginner because that's what you are. There's this pressure in golf to improve as much as possible, as quickly as possible. But if you're rushing through things, you're not building the foundation you need to really find your place in the game. So take the time to figure out how to play, understand who you are as a golfer, and figure out what kind of golf you want to play. Once you do that, you can start making better golf decisions for yourself, which builds your confidence and helps you find your place in the game. Because the truth is, you don't have to make yourself fit into any one type of golf. You can make golf fit around you. Thanks everyone for being here. In the next episode, we'll be talking about learning golf versus playing golf and why they feel so different. Until then, Matt and I will see you on the course.